Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, then definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. And that group was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. So today, and as you know, my name is Exus Justin, and today I want to introduce you to another one of the members of our community, Desiree Rucker. Welcome, Desiree.
Hi, thank you for having me, Extus.
You are welcome. So Desiree, tell myself and the rest of the community, what is it that you do?
Hi, I am a leadership and education coach. So what I do is reach out to parents and those who need a little bit of pick me up for themselves, not necessarily their kids, and giving them some direction for how to move ahead.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. So what's that backstory? What's your backstory before you got started doing this type of work?
Well, so little known, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I was in the Marine Corps and I had an accident. And so I ended up with brain damage and epilepsy. And because of that, I couldn't go to vet school. I mean, I could have, but brain damage was a little limiting. And so I didn't want to lose my passion for animals, and I went and I went back to school, got my master's in animal science, and then went on to get my doctorate in agricultural leadership, education, and communication. You say that 3 times. Um, so what I learned during that time is I wanted to give other people that passion and that drive to keep going to school. And I started working for the USDA, and I work for Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program, still do. And I do help provide education for those who want to be farmers. But in the course of my employment with the USDA, my daughter ended up getting a disability of her own. And I just felt this overwhelming desire to continue to teach her that it doesn't matter what your issues are, as long as your mind works, your body will follow. As your mind works, what you do, you just can't stop yourself. But you have to be healthy, and I'm not saying healthy just within your body, but you have to have that mental health, that mental strength to keep going. And so Earl, I've been putting off coaching for a couple of years. I really wanted to influence single parents, and especially young parents who feel like they can't go to school, or young parents that are trying to teach their kids that are just frustrated and they don't know which step to take. They don't know how to be a leader to their children, much less themselves. And so I had put it off, and then COVID hit. And my daughter was like, "Are you actually going to do something with this?" And I was like, "Okay, I work from home. Yeah, I guess so now. I guess I'll do it now, you know?" And so I got really excited about it. And I talked to her and I said, "What do you think? Should I do this?" And she was just so supportive. And she said, "Yeah, you should do that. But don't forget, there's a book you're supposed to be writing." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, well, I'm going to coach." So
Mhm.
there's somewhere in there I've been effective for her. And I think that once you've shown yourself you can be effective for your kids, you kind of get a little bit of more ability and energy and empowerment to go out there and affect others positively.
Right. Goodness, you got quite a story there, Desiree. Yeah. When in and you said you were also a U.S. Marine, right?
Yes, very much so. Yes.
Awesome. Were you officer or enlisted?
Enlisted, I did real work. I'm just kidding for any officers out there.
Yes, I actually spent some time in the Marines as well. So I did 8 years.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And I think you might be my first guest. Is it? Yeah, I think you might be the first guest I have who was in the Marine Corps. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
Think
then you
about
understand when I say I work for a living.
it. Exactly. Yep. Love it. Love it. Good. Good. Okay. Nice. Now, in terms of based on where you are right now on your own journey, what skill what's the one core skill you'd say you've really practiced that's gotten you to where you are today?
Really practice. I have really spent a lot of time mentoring young students, and that is high school through um, post high school. So, not necessarily in college. And I've done everything from just getting, empowering themselves to move ahead to how to get a scholarship. It's been a little bit all over the board. It's been we know if we go to Dr. Des, she'll help us in some way. And so that's where I really got started and I found my passion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. Now, who would you say is an ideal client for you? Where are they typically at on their journey?
So my ideal clients are typically young parents through, and that age is changing. Of course, we know young parents can be my age, which is 44. So there's some people who have worked for all this time and decided, now I want to be a parent. How is that going to change the dynamic of my life? Um, and can I still go to school, or can I still be a leader at work? So that parenting happens at any time. So anyone from 16 all the way up through just starting.
Hmm. Good stuff, good stuff. And what about the book? The book you said you have to write. Your daughter said, "Hey, you still got to write a book there." Where are you headed with this book?
So it is about becoming a change agent within wildlife and agriculture in Texas, specifically with the mountain lion. At the time that I did all my research, I was kind of laughed at because there were very few people who walk that line of being in agriculture and in wildlife.
Hmm.
Most folks were one or the other, where I didn't care. I wanted to like be on that fence and try to find ways that the two communities could talk to each other effectively and try to have some greater change within those two communities and saving um, farming while saving wildlife, which is not easy to do.
Hmm. And what about title? Do you have a title picked out already?
No.
No?
I I was gonna go just with the title of my dissertation, but that just seems so boring. And I've done so much since then and talked to so many like incredible people that I feel like if I left it at that title, I would have just left out so many positive people in my life. But I also have this I want to keep going. I'm sure, as a Marine, there's like, you keep going to the next level and the next, I'm going to get better every day because I'm just going to blow up the next thing. I have to eventually come to this point where I've blown up enough and now I can start putting this book together.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's where she's like, Mom, you just keep doing. And I'm like, I can't help it. So yeah.
That's some good stuff. I love it. Okay, good, good. As well, as long as it's not the real blowing up of stuff and and the
Not
metaphorical
today.
blowing up.
Not anymore.
Yes, yes. Today's my day off, but tomorrow, yes, I'll be back to blowing the stuff up again.
Right.
Good stuff. Okay, so what's I guess the next question becomes in essence with what you do, w- how has you do you find that just with your being a Marine, has that really shaped the direction on how you do stuff, how you approach just life and business in general? What do you find?
Well, at first, the Corps had made me really, well, I was already headstrong going into it, but it made it worse. And it made it to where I was very hard-headed. I was very prideful, whatever. I was excited about being me, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the accident and I learned that it takes more than just me, and I couldn't do anything at that time. I was learning to, I had to learn a lot from at 19 years old, you know. And when I said, you know, it's more than me, I also learned that my story is a gift to other people who don't realize that they can get up and do it again. They need a little help, but they can get up and do it again. And I think there are a lot of stories out there, but there's something about a female Marine where people are like, oh, well, you were the toughest out there. And I was like, no, I was weak for a while. But in my weak, I developed a different type of toughness, where I've learned that you have to be soft to be a great, effective communicator, educator, and leader.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. So what about your story here at the accident? Are you comfortable talking about that and sharing it, or what do you think?
Uh, well, you know, it was actually in boot camp. I got
Mm-hmm.
really, really sick. Some other crazy things happened. And I ended up with damage to the left side of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that damage, I started having seizures. And then after that, I stayed in the Marine Corps another couple years after that, and I fought and fought to stay in, which actually increased the amount of damage and the issues after that. So I ended up with post-traumatic stress disorder because I continued to push. And so they would put me in positions that for females weren't, as a former Marine yourself, I'm quite sure you understand
Yeah.
that there were positions that females couldn't have, especially in the 90s, that if you tried to do that, they would just really push you out and make you this pariah. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was given these horrible jobs. And one of the worst jobs I had was, at first I thought was going to be a good one, was actually as a personal casualty clerk. And so I saw all the horrible pictures. So it made things really difficult for me, because I put my heart into every day, everything that I did. So
Yeah.
when they put me out, I carried that with me.
Yeah. Okay, got you. What about what you're currently building towards at the moment? What is that big picture vision that you're working toward?
The big picture. I'm glad you asked me that. So my one thing that's really helped me is you asking me questions like, "What got you here?" Well, one of the things that is kind of referred to as that regression. You're going back in time to go forward, and so I want to develop regressive leadership and education where you learn to empower yourself through the beginnings. So take it, you're a beginning teacher, or you've been a teacher for 30 years and you're like, I'm losing faith, I'm bored, my kids don't like me anymore, but I want to keep teaching. Well, regression in education is going back and finding that love you had that very first day,
Mm-hmm.
or that very first love, and putting that passion back into re-energizing yourself and moving forward.
Yeah, awesome, exciting stuff. Good stuff, good stuff. And so you said right now you're in Florida, right?
Nope, I am in Missouri.
Oh, there we go, there we go. And there's a storm. So as a thunder, I know it's there's a bit of a storms back there.
Yes,
Is it
yes.
thunder lightning? Is that what's happening on your end?
Yes, thunder and lightning. Mm,
Yes, yes, I do
so
not miss those days. Okay, good. So let's say, I guess, with the individuals you work with, are there any common big mistakes you see them making that if they just get your help and reach out to you, that you could help them overcome and avoid?
big mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, a big mistake number one is thinking that this is the end.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I deal with all the time is, okay, I have a kid, I'm a single parent, it's the end. No, it's not. Or I've been at this job, they didn't hire me for the next position, this is the end. No, it's not. And so that is the biggest mistake people come to me with. They have taken away from their own power, just feeling like this is the end.
Yeah, and that is so true. The end, in my perspective, is when you're in the box, the coffin being put under, that's
Right,
the end, right?
right,
So up until then, like
right.
everything, and I believe really in life and business, everything is always leading to our next opportunity. It's never about what we're doing now. It's always what is that thing that we're currently doing, setting us up for in the future, right?
Right, right,
Mhm.
right. So, what's that saying? All the ideas that are in a graveyard, where do you find all the ideas that were never realized? And that's in a graveyard.
Mhm.
And I just feel like that if you decide that that's the end, then any of those ideas that you have, they're going to be in a graveyard with you.
Yeah, yeah. When I drive over to the office, I gotta pass a couple of graveyards actually, just filled. And when I was young, I was like terrified of graveyards, but today when I drive past, it's always like it really gets me really thinking. I think it also gives a lot of perspective because the question I always ask
Mhm.
myself is, I wonder the people in there, did they really live? And knowing that at one
Right.
point they were younger, they had kids, they had a family, had all these different dreams, and how many of them held back and thinking that they would be there forever and they would get to it someday, which because they never took the action, they never did. And here's what happens. It always gives some type of context to see how you can or you should really approach life, knowing that at the end, none of us make it out alive, right?
Right. And to speak to that, we just lost the actor that was best known for Black Panther, correct?
Right.
One thing that we didn't know is he was filming all of these with stage 3 colon cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew that was going, but he said that he wanted to leave this earth telling God that he had exhausted all of his talents. So even with stage 3 cancer, he was still doing what he loved to do and what he knew other people would love him doing. And I think that that is amazing. That's a testament to, it's never the end. It is
Yeah.
never the end.
Yeah, and it was so fascinating you mentioned that because I was actually watching I was on TikTok just browsing through a couple of these videos, and a video of him came up. It was like an interview though, I think right after the movie came out, and the interview, I mean, the interviewer, she was asking him some questions, saying, "Hey, what do you think about the sequel?" And he's like, "It doesn't matter because I'm dead, I'm dead anyways." And and she kept asking him, he's like, "You don't, I'm dead." And I'm not sure whether he was talking about the character or whether he was talking about him knowing kind of what his situation was and what he was going through and knowing those circumstances. But it was so interesting just to kind of hear that perspective. So I'm not sure what perspective it was, but it was just fascinating. What I guess you could say.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that because he did another movie after Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't recall the name of the movie, but he kept working,
Yeah.
and I just think that that's amazing. I think he was stronger than even I was, and I was still fighting to be a Marine.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of respect for what he did and what he said.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe having coaches as well, too, individuals who can help inspire us, because at the end of the day, just like you said, it's not something we could do alone. In the beginning, we all think that, hey, I could do this, or I'm strong and I could do all these different things. But then you start realizing that at the end, we all need help, right?
Right.
We're only as strong as the network, the people we surround ourselves with. And if we don't have anyone, then it's pretty easy to get into these realms where we can't really perform and we don't really dream or think big and give up. Versus when you do surround yourself with individuals like yourself, and what you do, you could definitely get to a point where you could inspire and get that motivation you need to take yourself up to the next level, right?
Yes, yes. And that's why I was so excited that you were, as soon as I was introduced to you, you're like, okay, come on, I'm gonna get you on, I'm gonna interview you. And I was like, really? Like, you ever
Yeah,
had that little kid? Really?
exactly.
So
Yeah,
that's how I felt. And I was like, I'm so excited. I get to say how I feel to people. And I really think that that's awesome, that that's what you're doing for coaches.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's a brilliant thing because at the end of the day, I believe that we all have a message, and being able to
Hmm.
just get on, whether it's a platform, a stage like this, and sharing that. When you really think about how life changes, right, and how things happen, it's always based on some random person. So we hear somebody's story and we just follow up, like, who's this person? We follow them the
Yeah,
path. The next thing you know, either we're working with that person or they're inspiring us in some way. And when I heard your story again, I just felt like, it needs to be shared because there's someone out there who
yeah.
needs to hear it, who could reach out and connect. Yeah.
That's awesome you said that, because my coach, she's an author and she's in the middle of writing this book, and she said she kept getting this um, writer's block. And I said to her, I said, sometimes you have to sit back. I wish I would listen to myself. Sometimes you have to sit back and realize that it doesn't matter what words, because one word is going to resonate with someone. One sentence is going to resonate. The rest of the book may not matter. And she was like, I didn't think about it that way. And I said,
Hmm.
yeah, because the more pressure you put on every word, it's less impactful. If you go, it's that authenticity, right? So when you really really are looking for the right word and you're not just being real, people can feel that even when they're reading. And now we have audiobooks so people can hear it instead of really have that enjoyment and that fulfillment of knowing that they're listening to or reading someone who is being real with them.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Good stuff. Okay, Desiree. So, if someone wanted to learn more, there's someone sat through this interview and they're like, man, this was some awesome stuff. I loved it. I really love to connect with Desiree. What's the best way for them to be able to do so?
The best way is through email, which is actually simple. It's Desiree at DesireeRucker.com. The second best way is through Facebook, and you can find my page at Reimagine Yourself 2020, or you can just look up Desiree Rucker and just friend me. I don't mind having folks follow along and have some positive, good, fun times.
Awesome, love it, Desiree. And guys, if you're watching this interview on the live or the replay, number one, leave us a comment below. Let us know that you're tuning in. And the second is the links Desiree just mentioned to connect with her. They will either be right above or below this video, so you can click and get connected right to her. Desiree, hey, thanks again for making the time to be here and spending this awesome time with myself and the community today. Really appreciate it. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
Well, thank you. And thank everyone else. And please don't let this be our last time speaking. I look forward to hearing from everyone. And I look forward to just being able to see this and pass it on to others.
Awesome. Love it. Well, hey, thanks again. We'll talk soon.
All right.